Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome NFDA President Randy Earl.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome to the 2012 All-Star Recognition Ceremony. I want everyone to understand, and just a brief little addition to the program, all the photographs that will be taken today on the stage will be available immediately following the program in the back of the room. So if you have your photograph taken and you want a copy of it, it'll be available in the back of the room immediately following the entire program. We are recognizing an elite group of funeral service professionals today. Those who have earned the 2012 NFDA Pursuit of Excellence Award, NFDA Certified Preplanning Consultants, Certified Funeral Service Practitioners, and CANA Certified Crematory Operators. And for the first time, we're also pleased to honor those funeral homes that have earned an NFDA Green Funeral Practices Certificate. To be able to share in the celebration of your significant professional achievement is a privilege. All of you who are being honored today should be very proud of your accomplishments. You are dedicated, committed professionals who represent the very best of what funeral service has to offer. A brief note, for the first time ever, we're webcasting our All-Star ceremony. I'd like to welcome those of you who are watching us online. I hope you're as impressed by the achievements of our honorees as I am. As a reminder, this ceremony is a special occasion for those who are being recognized. The people who are honoring today have worked very hard to be here. Out of respect for all who are being recognized, I ask that you please stay for the entire ceremony. Without further ado, let's begin with the recognition of our honorees. Please welcome a longtime supporter of the NFDA Certified Preplanning Consultant Program, NFDA At-Large Representative Ashley Cozine.
Thank you, Randy. Let me begin by offering my personal congratulations to everyone here we are honoring today. The NFDA Certified Preplanning Consultant Program, or CPC program, is the only international program conferring certification in the specialized service area of advanced funeral planning. I invite those individuals who have completed the CPC program in the past year to come to the stage to receive your CPC pin and be recognized in front of your peers. I ask that you come by the podium one by one, introduce yourself, stating your name, the organization you represent, and the city and state where you live. Before you leave the stage, if you wish, please step over and have a photo taken with President Randy Earl.
Aaron Whitaker Funeral Home, Newberry, South Carolina. Karen Atkins Northland Funeral Home in Cloquet, Minnesota.
Ellis, Caldwell and Cowan Funeral Home, Covington, Georgia.
Billy Hollifield, Cobb Funeral Home, Blytheville, Arkansas.
Hill with Harris Funeral Home in Morrilton, Arkansas.
This music makes me want to climb Mount Everest. If there's anyone else in the audience here who continues to set an example by renewing their CPC certification, please stand and be recognized. A couple people. Congratulations to each and every one of you. To recognize the newly certified crematory operators, I welcome to the stage CANA President Kevin Waterston.
Thank you, Ashley. My name is Kevin Waterston. On behalf of our Executive Director, Barbara Kemmis, and the entire CANA board, let me say what a pleasure it is to be joining you again this year, especially after a successful joint convention we had last year. The Cremation Association of North America's Cremation Operators Certified Program is for helping crematories and funeral home directors, support staff, regulators, and mortuary schools understand how to run a safe, effective, compliant, and ethical crematory. Nearly 500 individuals have been certified through our Crematory Operators Program in the past year. If you have earned your certification in the past year, I invite you to come up on stage. I ask you to come up and be recognized at the podium in front of your peers. Please introduce yourself by saying your name, funeral home, crematory or organization you represent, and city and state. If you wish, please make your way across the stage where Barbara Kemmis is standing for a photo opportunity. If there's anyone in the audience,
Rafael Jose, Arlington Memorial Chapels, Manila, Philippines.
Patrick Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald Funeral Home, Rockford, Illinois.
Chase with Strode Funeral Home in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and Chase Family Crematory, Stillwater, Oklahoma.
if there's anyone in the audience who has previously been certified through the Crematory Operator Certification Program, please stand and be recognized. Congratulations to all of you for your outstanding efforts. If you have any questions about the Crematory Operator Certification Program, stop by the CANA booth at the Expo Hall, booth number 4157. The next group of funeral service all-stars we will recognize are those who have earned their Certified Funeral Service Practitioners from the Academy of Professional Funeral Service Practice. It's my honor to welcome to the stage Secretary-Treasurer Bill Joyner and the Academy President Arvid Surratt.
Thank you, Kevin. My name is Bill Joyner. On behalf of the Academy President Arvind Surratt and our entire board, I am grateful for the opportunity to join in this celebration of Funeral Service All-Stars and to give special recognition to those who have earned the Certified Funeral Service Practitioner or CFSP designation. Earning a CFSP designation represents a lifelong commitment to education by participating in activities that far exceed those of state licensing board. More than 100 individuals earned their CFSP designation in the last year. If you are one of those individuals, I invite you to make your way up to the stage. I ask that you come to the podium and introduce yourself by stating your name, the funeral home you represent, and your city and your state. If you wish, please make your way across the stage where Academy President Arvin Starrett is standing for a photo opportunity. If you would make your way up at this time.
Kenneth Brewster, Crow's Funeral Home, Jamaica, New York.
Lad Pulliam, Jones & Son Funeral Home, Richton, Mississippi.
Patrick Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald Funeral Home, Rockford, Illinois. Matt Baskerville, Reeves and Freitag, Reeves and Baskerville Funeral Homes in Wilmington, Illinois.
Rob Harris, Harris Funeral Home, Marlton, Arkansas.
Nick French, Lawson Miller and Chop and Horse Funeral Homes, Brazil and Clay City, Indiana.
Shay Davis, Schuler and Forson Funeral Homes, Hendersonville, North Carolina.
Congratulations to all of our new CFSPs. Once certified, CFSPs must earn 20 hours annually of continuing education and renew their membership in the Academy to maintain their designation. With those in the audience who continue to set an example for their colleagues by renewing their CFSP designation, please stand and be recognized. Wow. Congratulations to our CFSP renewals. If anyone has any question about the CFSP designation, please visit the Academy booth in the Expo Hall, booth number 961. It is my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who was instrumental in the development of NFDA's newest recognition program, the Green Funeral Service Practices Certified Program, Jim Olson.
It's an honor being here with you today with so many outstanding funeral professionals. And I'm very proud to be here to recognize the funeral homes that have earned NFDA's Green Funeral Practices Certificate. This program enables NFDA members to distinguish their firms and their leading providers of green funeral services in their areas and communities and demonstrate their ongoing commitment to environmentally responsible practices. NFDA is the first National Funeral Service Association to offer such a program. It was developed by NFDA funeral directors and is the premier recognition program encompassing services to families that want environmentally friendly funeral and green business practices. The following firms have earned their NFDA Green Funeral Practices Certificate: the Brown Cummings Funeral Home, Oklahoma; the Gardenier Funeral Home in Pennsylvania; my funeral home, the Lippert Olson Funeral Home in Sheboygan, Wisconsin; the Miles T. Martin Funeral Home and Martin Funeral Homes in Michigan; the Moore Funeral Home in Brazil, Indiana; and the Prout Funeral Home in New Jersey; and Williams, Sullivan and Sons Funeral Home in Michigan. I invite representatives of these funeral homes to make their way to the stage. Please step up to the podium and introduce yourselves, the name of your funeral home you represent, your city and state. And if you wish, you may make your way across the stage and have a photo opportunity with President Randy Earl.
Judy and John Sullivan with William Sullivan and Son Funeral Home, Royal Oak in Utica, Michigan.
Mike Gardenier from Gardenier Funeral Home, Franklin, Pennsylvania.
James Olson, the Lippert Olson Funeral Home in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I feel like one-man show up here. If you would like any more information about the Green Funeral Practices Certificate Program, please stop by NFDA Central. It's now my honor and my pleasure to introduce the chair of the program that I'm very excited and proud to be a participant in, and that is the NFDA Pursuit of Excellence program. I welcome my fellow funeral director and friend, Lynn Ochiltree.
Thank you. Our last group of honorees are the 164 funeral homes that have earned the NFDA Pursuit of Excellence this past year. The Pursuit of Excellence Award is the mark of distinction in funeral service and recognizes NFDA member funeral homes for their commitment to providing outstanding service to families and communities and adherence to high professional ethical standards. Pursuit of Excellence Award recipients are an elite group of funeral directors who provide and represent the 2% of funeral homes nationwide. If you've earned a 2012 Pursuit of Excellence Award, please come forward to the stage for your recognition by your peers. Please designate one representative to announce the name of the firm which you represent and your city and state. Before you leave the stage, if you wish, please pause and have a photo taken with NFDA President Randy Earl. Also, don't forget as you leave the stage, please stop by the tables at the foot of the stage to pick up your awards packets.
Beth Rawson, Walla Funeral Home in Oxford, Mississippi.
Robbie and Betty Bates, Bates Family Funeral Home, DeKalb, Texas.
Kenneth Howe and Matthew Shannon, Home and Howe Funeral Homes of Southwest Missouri.
Pulliam, Jones and Son Funeral Home, Richton, Mississippi.
Randy Anderson, Radney Funeral Home, Alexander City, Alabama, my wife Kim.
Jimmy Olson, Lippert Olson Funeral Home, Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Christy, Aaron, and Doggett Whitaker, Whitaker Funeral Home, Newberry, South Carolina.
Joshua Hendricks, Bowen Dawson Funeral Home, Tifton, Georgia.
Sean Myers and Christina Myers of Myers Mortuary of Ogden, Roy, and Brigham City and Layton. And Kent Christiansen of Layton.
Ed Mazer, Capinos Mazer Funeral Home, Ludlow, Massachusetts.
Bud and Barb Weeding of Weeding Family Funeral Home, Chilton and Kiel, Wisconsin.
Belmasu and Leon de Leon, Memorial Funeral Home, San Juan, Texas, and Memorial Funeral Home, Edinburgh, Texas.
Diana Kurz, Newington Memorial Funeral Home in Newington, and Burritt Hill Funeral Home in New Britain, Connecticut.
Valerie Wages, Tom M. Wages Funeral Service, Snellville Chapel, Snellville, Georgia.
Rick Johnson, Tom M. Wages Funeral Service, Lawrenceville Chapel, Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Paula Staub-Polk Memorial Home and Cremation Services of Central Illinois, Chatham, Illinois.
Kenneth Brewster, Chio Brewster, and Sharon Bowie, Crow's Funeral Homes, Jamaica, New York.
Matthew Fiorillo, Ballard Duran Funeral and Cremation Services, White Plains and Elmsford, New York.
David McComb, D.O. McComb and Sons Funeral Homes, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Bill Booker with the Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas, including Roller Funeral Home of Mountain Home, Roller Ballard Funeral Home of Benton, Roller Chenal of Little Rock, Roller Crouch of Batesville, Roller Daniel of Searcy, and Roller McNutt of Conway. Thank you.
Bill and Ashley Cozine, Cozine Memorial Group, Wichita, Kansas.
Robert and Patricia Moore from Moore's Home for Funerals in Wayne, New Jersey.
John and Sid Runsvold, Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home, Fargo, North Dakota.
Joy Spencer Spohr from Spencer Family Funeral Home, Athens, Michigan.
Patrick Lanigan and Stephanie Dora Guzzi Despot of Patrick T. Lanigan Funeral Home in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Lynch and Sons Funeral Directors in Brighton and Milford, Michigan.
Mary Callahan and Patrick Lynch, Lynch and Sons Funeral Home, Clawson, Michigan.
Justin and Dina Smith, Kim Foster, and Mickey Urton of Smith Family Mortuaries in Derby, Kansas.
Richard and Monty Burris, Anderson Burris Funeral Home, Enid, Oklahoma.
Sam James with James Funeral Home in Huntersville, North Carolina.
Jeff Seaman for Dwayne R. Spence Funeral Homes and Crematory in Pickerington, Ohio.
Hi, André Larin from J. Larin Funeral Home and Crematory in Valleyfield, Quebec, Canada.
Gary and Stephanie Diders from Diders Funeral Home and Crematory in East Peoria and Washington, Illinois.
Greg and Marla Henderson, Henderson Funeral Home, Pekin, Illinois.
Jennifer Hensler, Thomas McAfee Funeral Homes, downtown and Northwest Chapels.
Joe Griffith and David Twyford of Twyford Funeral Home, Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
Helene Horvath-Zelinsky from Wonderly Horvath-Haynes Funeral Home and Crematory in Fremont, Ohio.
John Cozine Memorial Chapel and Crematory, Farmington, Missouri.
Steve O'Brien.
Gary Stratman.
Ryan Redinger with the O'Brien Stratman Redinger Funeral Home in Kearney, Nebraska.
John Porter, Carpenter's Funeral Home, Cherville, North Carolina.
Mike Gardner, Gardner Funeral Home, Franklin, Pennsylvania. John and Debbie Johnston, Duncan Gray's Funeral Home, Pascal, Maine.
David Hernandez, Wave Funeral Home in Morganville, New Jersey, and Old Bridge Funeral Home in Old Bridge, New Jersey.
Matt Baskerville, Reeves Funeral Homes Limited of Coal City, Illinois, and Freitag, Reeves, and Baskerville Funeral Home in Wilmington, Illinois.
Norman and Kathy Hall from the Davis Funeral Home, Nashua, New Hampshire.
Terry and Judy Reardon, Higgins Reardon Funeral Homes and Crematory, Youngstown, Ohio.
Dane and BJ Early Wine Mortuary, Greenfield, Indiana.
Dan Skivalaki, Cher Sterling Skivalaki Funeral Home, Alliance, Ohio.
Tyler Tiedrick and my beautiful wife Tarina Tiedrick from Tiedrick Funeral Homes, Elizabethton, Tennessee.
Peter Kolbacki, Brunswick Memorial Home in East Brunswick, New Jersey.
I'm Ben Matthews. This is Emily Bowles. We represent Bowles Funeral Home of Southern Pines, Pinehurst Seven Lakes, and Miller Bowles Funeral Home of Sanford, and Bowles Funeral Home of Roland and Red Springs.
Jimmy Altmeyer.
Ken Brain.
Shay Davis.
I'm Rob Biddle. We're with Schuler Funeral Homes, Forest Lawn Funeral Homes, and Altmeyer Funeral Homes in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Thank you.
Mike Newman, Panabaker Funeral Home, Hanover, Pennsylvania.
Barbara Mangano Funeral Home, Deer Park, New York.
Judson and Ginger Caldwell and Scott Ellis, Caldwell and Callan Funeral Home, Covington, Georgia.
Chase with Strove Funeral Home, Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Nick French, Lawson Miller and Chop and Horse Funeral Homes, Brazil and Clay City, Indiana.
Clay McLean, my brother Billy McLean, and manager Paul English of McLean Funeral Directors in Gastonia and Belmont, North Carolina, and Lancaster, South Carolina. Thank you.
I'm Dennis Murphy from the Heritage Funeral Home and Crematory in Spokane, Washington.
Megan Shaughnessy,
Sarah and Bill Carlisle, Geisen and Carlisle, Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Michigan City, Indiana.
Jamie and Melissa Lentz Funeral Home from Algona, Iowa.
Brandon Birmingham and Kirk McKay representing Holiday Contwood Mortuary, Murray Memorial Mortuary, Deseret Memorial Mortuary, and Redwood Memorial Mortuary, all of the Salt Lake City area in Utah. Thank you.
Ivy Spicer and Mr. Tom Lord, Lord and Stevens Funeral Home, Athens, Georgia.
Rafael Jose, Arlington Memorial Chapels and Crematory, Manila, Philippines. Maraming salamat po.
Andrew Markham and Brian Daniel with Rose Mortuary Broadway Chapel and Rose Mortuary Man Heritage Chapel in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Craig Olson, West Funeral Home, West Fargo, and Castleton, North Dakota.
Hans Larson at the Schonenberger Funeral Home in Perham, Minnesota.
Neil and Pat Hanley and Tammy Vacachura Hanley, or Tammy, we're the Preston Hanley Funeral Homes and Crematory in Pekin, Illinois, and Creve Coeur, and also Prairie Haven Cemetery in Pekin.
John and Betty Eggers, Eggers Funeral Home and Crematory, Chesney, South Carolina.
I'm Ed Gamble with Gamble Funeral Service in Savannah, Georgia.
Valerie and Gary Foltz, Bailiff and Son Funeral Home, Cridersville, Ohio.
Billy Curl, Cobb Funeral Home, Blytheville, Arkansas.
Billy Hollifield, Cobb Funeral Home, Blytheville, Arkansas.
John Villianti, Branch Funeral Homes of Smithtown and Miller Place, New York.
James Mormon, Mormon Funeral Home, Wakeman, Ohio.
Charles Castilla of Lakeside Memorial Funeral Home in Hamburg, New York.
UCAC, Peter Savage with Savage Funeral Service in Binghamton, New York, and Endicott, New York.
I'm Ellen and Wynn McBrayer.
Dana Jones-Wynn with Jones-Wynn Funeral Home and Crematory, Villa Rica, Georgia.
Ken Duncan, Jones-Wynn Funeral Home and Crematory, Douglasville, Georgia.
Rosemary Forsberg from Nipawin, Saskatchewan, Canada Heritage Funeral Home.
David Kestner, the A.H. Peters Funeral Home, Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan.
Judy and Bob Arrington Funeral Directors, Jackson, Tennessee.
My name is Dr. Mildred Vitancol, representing on behalf of St. Peter Memorial Chapels Nationwide and Crematory Philippines.
Phil and David Parado, Bartolomeo and Parado Funeral Home, Rochester, New York.
Jay and Mary Steele, Arnett and Steele Funeral Home and Cremation Service, Pineville, Kentucky.
Tree Funeral Service, Winterset, Iowa. There are 3 special groups of Pursuit of Excellence Award-winning funeral homes that earned an additional recognition within this program this year. In addition to receiving the 2011 NFDA Pursuit of Excellence Award, 2 firms have received the best of the best in recognition of their development and execution of an innovative program or service that has had a positive impact on funeral service in the communities they've served this year. Will the best of the best award recipients please come forward to receive a special certificate, and I ask one representative of the firm to please state the name of the funeral home, city, and state. And before you leave the stage, please pause if you wish to have a picture with President Earl.
Brandon and Martha Thompson of Brandon G. Thompson Funeral Home of Hammond and Ponchatoula, Louisiana.
Linda Hagerman, Tom Fitzgerald, Patrick Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald Funeral Home and Crematory, Rockford, Illinois.
All of our Pursuit of Excellence honorees are worthy of our esteem, but there is an elite group of participants that are true backbones of the program, our Hall of Excellence inductees. Funeral Home is inducted in the NFDA Hall of Excellence when it has earned its 10th Pursuit of Excellence Award. This year, 22 participants of the Excellence Award are Excellence Award recipients this year. I ask the inductees to please come forward to the stage and receive recognition. Please designate one representative again to approach the podium, state your name and city, and before you leave the stage, please again pause for a photo with President Earl.
I'm Ellen and Wynn McBrayer.
Dana Jones Wynn with Jones Wynn Funeral Home and Crematory, Villa Rica, Georgia.
And I'm Ken Duncan with Jones Wynn Funeral Home and Crematory, Douglasville, Georgia.
David and Philip Parado, Bartolomeo and Parado Funeral Home, Rochester, New York.
Christy and Doggett Whitaker, Whitaker Funeral Home, Newberry, South Carolina.
John Cosine, Cosine Memorial Chapel and Crematory, Farmington, Missouri.
Bill Booker, Roller Funeral Home of Mountain Home, Arkansas.
Terry and Judy Reardon, Higgins Reardon Funeral Homes and Crematory, Youngstown, Ohio.
David Kastner, A.H. Peters Funeral Home, Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan.
Judy and John Sullivan with William Sullivan and Son Funeral Home, Royal Oak, Michigan.
Greg and Marla Henderson, Henderson Funeral Home, Pekin, Illinois.
Sid and John Runsvold, Fargo, North Dakota.
Spence and Jeff Seaman from the Dwayne Spence Funeral Home, Pickerington, Ohio.
I'm Dennis Murphy from the Heritage Funeral Home and Crematory in Spokane, Washington, and I want to thank my staff that made this possible and to let you know they're all watching the webcast. So my phone is buzzing.
Neil and Pat Hanley and Tammy Hanley Vacatura of Preston Hanley Funeral Homes in Pekin, Illinois, and Preston Hanley Funeral Homes in Creve Coeur and Prairie Haven Cemetery.
John and Betty Eggers, Eggers Funeral Home, Chesney, South Carolina.
Gene and Katie Allen, Kerrville Funeral Home in Kerrville, Texas.
Ochiltree Funeral Service, Winterset, Iowa. After induction into the Hall of Excellence, many firms continue to participate in the program. In fact, we have a handful that have participated for more than 30 years. This year, we'd like to recognize 5 funeral homes that are celebrating a milestone anniversary of participation. If your firm is one of those named on the screen behind me, do we have that list? Oh, there, it's there. Please come forward to be recognized. Please come to the podium if you are here. State your name, your firm name, city and state, and if you wish, please again pause for a moment with a photo with President Earl. We do have a certificate for you.
Joe Griffith, Twyford Funeral Home in Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you to all of our other presenters. What an extraordinary event this has been. Let me again offer my heartfelt congratulations to all those who were honored here tonight. It's truly a privilege to be with so many people who are achieving more in their businesses than their communities. Thank you for attending this special event, and on behalf of NFDA Executive Board, please enjoy the rest of your convention. As I mentioned at the start of the program, if you want copies of the photos that were taken at this event, please stop in the back of the hall on your way out. Again, thank you so very much, and enjoy your evening. Thank you.